I never thought a new marriage could change everything, but when my mom met Grant, it was like our lives took a turn down a road we'd never been on before. My name is Madison Cole, and I was 21 the year everything started falling apart, or maybe I should say unraveling quietly. It was the kind of unraveling no one talks about, the kind you feel in your gut before you can name it. Mom met Grant at a charity event in downtown Phoenix. He was older, well-groomed, one of those polished types that looked like he belonged in a magazine ad for luxury watches. I remember the first time I saw him. His suit fit too well, and his smile was too practiced. I didn't trust it, but my mom was glowing for the first time in years, so I kept my mouth shut. They got married after 6 months of dating. The ceremony was small and classy. I wore a pale blue dress that Mom picked for me, and when I walked down the aisle behind her, I felt his eyes on me. Not in a way a stepfather should look at his new stepdaughter, but in a way that made my skin crawl. I told myself I was imagining it, being too sensitive. He was just trying to be warm, to make me feel like part of his new family. But the way his eyes lingered, the way his smile twitched at the corners when no one was looking, it wasn't nothing. Grant had a house in the suburbs, all high ceilings and glass. The kind of place where you couldn't hide. Every room seemed too open, like the walls were watching. I moved in for the summer to save money before my last year of college. Mom was thrilled. She thought we'd finally have that normal family she always wanted. For the first few weeks, everything was quiet. Grant was overly accommodating. He made big breakfasts. He asked me about my classes and friends, always leaning too close when I spoke. Then it started getting weird. He would walk into my room without knocking, saying he thought I wasn't home. I'd come downstairs in my pajamas, and he'd just stand there watching like he didn't know where to look, except he always knew. One night, I caught him outside my bedroom door. He wasn't doing anything, just standing there. I opened it and asked him what he needed. He smiled and said, "Just checking to make sure you're safe." I nodded, closed the door, and locked it that night. It wasn't long after that the small things began to stack up. My towel disappeared from the bathroom. Twice. My phone had been moved from where I left it charging. I'd wake up and feel like the air had changed in the room, like someone had been there breathing. Then came the notes. The first one was in the laundry room, tucked inside the pocket of one of my jeans. Just a piece of paper with the words, "You're the reason I stayed." My heart nearly stopped. I didn't tell Mom. I couldn't. She was so happy, finally smiling again after years of working 2 jobs and raising me alone. I didn't want to take that away. Still, I had to be sure I wasn't losing my mind. So I bought a cheap little camera and placed it on my bookshelf facing the doorway. It looked like a regular clock. That night, I didn't lock the door. I barely slept. Around 2 in the morning, I heard the softest creak, like someone trying not to wake me. I held my breath. My back was to the door. I didn't move, just listened. And then nothing. The next morning, I checked the footage. There he was, Grant, opening my door slowly, standing there for several minutes, watching. He didn't step inside. He just stood there, watching me sleep. I copied the video onto a flash drive and hid it in my bag. I needed time to figure out what to do. That night, I told Mom I was going to a friend's for the weekend. She was confused but didn't ask questions. Grant stood by the door as I left, smiling like nothing had happened. "Be careful, Maddie," he said. His voice was smooth, almost gentle. "You know you're very special, right?" I didn't respond. I stayed with my best friend Danielle and showed her the video. She watched it 3 times and said the words I hadn't been able to say out loud. "That's not normal. He's not just being a creep, Mads. That's dangerous." We called the police. They took a statement and asked if I had more evidence. I gave them the notes. I handed over the flash drive. They told me I'd done the right thing. It felt both validating and terrifying. Mom didn't believe it at first. She accused me of misinterpreting everything, of trying to ruin the best thing that had ever happened to her. But when the police showed her the footage, she broke. She cried for hours. Then she packed a bag and left with me. We stayed in a hotel for a few nights while she filed for divorce. It was a relief, but it didn't feel like a victory. Grant didn't take it well. He vanished after the divorce papers were served. Just disappeared. Quit his job. Emptied his accounts. The cops couldn't find him. A warrant was issued, but nothing came of it. We tried to move on. We moved to a smaller house on the other side of town. I went back to school. We tried to rebuild. For a while I thought it was over. But it wasn't. It was late October when the first package arrived. Just a brown envelope with no return address. Inside was a photo of me. One I'd never seen before. I was sleeping in it. The date printed in the corner was from 2 weeks earlier. My knees buckled when I saw it. I didn't tell Mom. I couldn't break her again. I just reported it anonymously and bought new locks for every door and window. The following week, I got a text from an unknown number. It said, "You can't hide from someone who never left." I changed my number, deleted every social media account, stopped going out at night. But the feeling never left. That sensation of being watched, of being followed. I told myself it was paranoia, but deep down I knew. He was still out there. I graduated in May. I didn't walk across the stage. I didn't want my name in the program. I took the diploma quietly and moved across the country. A fresh start. I thought if I changed everything, I could lose the part of me that still felt hunted. For a year, things were quiet. I had a job at a coffee shop, a tiny studio apartment above a bookstore. I didn't tell anyone where I was, not even old friends. Then one night I came home and found a single rose on my pillow. The window wasn't broken. The lock wasn't forced. The door had still been bolted, but the rose was there. I sat down on the bed, trembling, and stared at it for a long time. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just whispered to the empty room, "I know you're still watching." Because I understood something then. His obsession wasn't about love. It wasn't even about me. It was about control. About breaking something beautiful so he could own the pieces. But I'm not broken. Not yet. Not ever. And if he ever comes back again, I'll be waiting. Not with fear, but with fire.